No going back now.
It means forever, ever, or never mind.
Hello and welcome to video number 4 of our van life series. In today's video we finally get round to fixing all the dents, scratches, rust and holes on our LDV Convoy van before giving it a fresh coat of paint. The first thing we did actually happened all the way back in England.
I'm going to try the other side.
We started by trying to take some of the horrible white stickers off the van. Some came off a lot easier than others, so we ended up leaving some of them on till we had more time.
Oh my god, how are you doing it? I can't. And I have more nails than you.
In these clips you can also see how bad the condition of the van was. From the bumpers to the bodywork, we had a lot of work to do. Now skipping ahead and back to Mallorca, and something we had to address quickly was the leaking roof and windows. We noticed this on our first night at the port in Dover when water started to pour into the van when it rained. The two biggest issues we had were the sills around the windows and the join between the roof and the sides of the van. Most of the damage had been caused by rust, and as is normally the case with rust, once you start to pick away at it, you realise how much bigger the issue is than you originally thought. As you can see here, what started out as just a bubbled surface is already turned into a large hole. This was probably one of the worst spots on the van, but I had to cut out as much rust as possible before strengthening and then resealing the hole. We also had to reseal the entire join between the roof and the side of the van, as the water seemed to be getting in everywhere. As for the windows, it was mostly removing as much mould as possible and then resealing around the window frames. Around the passenger door was also in a bad state, so the first layer of sealant had to go in here too. There were also 2 cracks in the roof that needed fixing. Moving round to the other side, and here you can see the van without any of the white stickers. They have left a bit of a mark, but this won't matter, as once we come to paint the van, this will all be covered up. Now back up the top, and you can see more of the same damage and rust around the windows and the join to the roof as the other side. So I'll have to do all the same work on this side too. Now to give you an idea of what I meant about the dents and scratches. All the way down the driver's side of the van there is a huge scratch, and it's actually dented the van too. So this needs to be sanded down and filled in. There are also lots of marks and scratches on this side, and the old water and electric hookup points that need to be removed and the holes filled in. Back round to the passenger side, and we're starting to make things look a little better. This side also had a fair amount of dents that needed to be filled in. I also decided to try and make the white trim around the wheel arches look a little more factory by blending them into the bodywork. Skip a little further ahead again, and the first layer of paint is going on. We ended up going for a roll-on primer. It has a slightly grey shade of white, but the biggest advantage of using this paint was its rust protection. It guarantees to block and stop any rust and protect the metal, so any rust that we couldn't cut out or that we missed should never get any worse. Before applying this paint, we ended up buying some new metal trunking that fitted perfectly over the original roof join. As with all the sealant that was required, to use body filler to try and bring back the nice square edge would have been almost impossible. This way I just had to use filler to shape the ends. I did then also apply a water sealant paint around the entire join of the roof to be 100% we will not have any more leaks. I then sanded the entire van, gave it a good clean to get rid of all the dust, dirt and grease, then started to roll on the primer. It was actually really easy to apply, and although it took a long time, 24 hours to dry between coats, and around 5 to 6 coats, in the end we finally finished painting the entire van in white. It is worth noting this whole process was stretched out over several months, partly as we were putting more focus on the inside of the van, and partly because things like the leaks we needed to fix as soon as possible, even if it hardly rains in Mallorca. These delays made it hard to film a complete painting video and take you through step by step what we did. I also want to try and keep this video relatively entertaining, as watching someone paint isn't the most exciting thing to watch. But if this video makes everything look quick and easy, I can assure you it wasn't, but it was a simple process, just very time consuming. But back to the van, and the white is on, and it actually ended up looking really good. We were even tempted to leave the van in white, as the finish was surprisingly amazing. However, we stuck to our original plan, and after waiting longer than we would have wanted for the paint, we started to tape off the top half of the van. Once the van was all taped up and protected, I suited up to protect myself from all the chemicals and started painting. We were lucky in that after waiting such a long time for the paint to arrive, we had a few days of lots of sunshine and no wind. Still not the perfect painting condition, but it was good enough for us. The blue went on really well and is exactly the colour we wanted. It only took 2 coats and the finish turned out perfect. The next morning came, and with all the paper removed, we could start to see exactly how the finished van will look. The paint looks patchy in this clip, but it's just because it's not fully dry. But as you can see, it is looking good. So the next job was to reseal all the windows and fittings and get the van ready for lacquer to protect the paint and give it some shine. We didn't film spraying the lacquer on, as well, it would be boring to watch. So the next job was to protect all of the work we had done to the van, so we could paint the wheels without having to remove them. I'm not overly pleased with the result, but for the wheels, bumpers and wing mirrors, they can always be redone in the future. Then the final job was to paint around the window frames. For this we used some standard Ronseal Rust Protect should have been gloss black paint. However, it turned out with a fine brush and as thin as possible to try and eliminate any brush marks. I'm really pleased with how the windows turned out. Gave them a completely new look to match the rest of the van. And we are done. Inside and out, both completely finished. We're absolutely blown away with how the van has turned out. To see the final results of the inside and out, make sure to watch the next video for the full van tour. We show you the finished result along with how everything works. We really hope you've enjoyed these videos so far. If you have, please make sure you like and subscribe for more like this. See you in the next one.